Gardens. Today we've got a good Week 5 matchup in store here between the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins. The first quarter of the season already in the rearview mirror, and off we go in Week 5 on EA Sports. Braxton Berrios now from his end zone. And they'll get him down right around the 25, actually the 26 officially, so a net gain of 1 there.
Ready.
Now a play fake here on first down. Oh, he's going to air it out right away. And this will be caught at the 30. And all the way in. Touchdown, New York. Garrett Wilson, his second touchdown on the season. And the Jets are on the board first here this afternoon. The point after through the raindrops, up and good. And it's now a 7-0 game. The Jets kick team out now to boot this one away. And that one will bounce out of the back of the end zone, so we will start here at the 25. And the Dolphins now with a 1st and 10 at their own 25-yard line. Here's Tagovailoa to throw. And he can't find anywhere to go with it, and he goes down. Carl Lawson with a little how do you do as he gets in there for the sack. And they get to him right out of the gate, and this defense hoping that that's a harbinger of things to come.
Yeah, when you give up a first-play sack, makes your quarterback wonder if he's going to go to the sidelines and talk with his offense coordinator and head coach and say, hey, you know that game plan we put together? We might need to change it right now.
Another try after the first down sack. Tua. And his throw's going to be incomplete.
And this drive is almost over before it began thanks to a great defensive effort. Sack on first down, followed by an incompletion, one more good rep, and they get off the field.
An incomplete pass on that last play, and that means they'll need to come up with something here on 3rd down. Now a pass hauled in downfield. And he'll be corralled well upfield right around the 40-yard line. A real letdown defensively. That was 3rd and a bundle, but they allow the conversion.
Well, that was a fun one to watch right there. A nice in-breaking route and plenty of room in the middle of the field. And he was able to get behind the linebackers and grab the completion for a really good pickup.
Ready.
And he can only manage to get a couple. 2nd and 8 coming up. The Dolphins at 3-1 here through their first 4 games. And they come in off a disappointment last time out. That put an end to their modest 3-game win streak.
And it always hurts when you lose a tight game, as they did a week ago. I think each player starts thinking to himself, if I could have played better one play here, one play there, maybe it could have changed this team's fortunes. But it absolutely illustrates how important it is to play a complete game if you want to win in the NFL.
2 runs in a row, but only 2 yards to show for it.
What an advantage having an elite guy in the middle of the defensive line, because not only does he take up the space and let the linebackers run free, but he can also make plays himself, as we just saw there.
Throwing is Tagovailoa on 3rd down here. He'll get this to his tight end, Gesicki. And he'll get this up near midfield, but that's still a few yards shy of the first down. It'll go down as a gain of 6, and that's going to make it 4th down. And look at this, it's a fake. And this is incomplete. A huge gamble, and it does not pay off. These two teams, you might recall, met up back in September in Week 3. And it was the Dolphins with a road victory, so they'll look for the sweep now here in Miami.
Let's go now. 97.
They'll try and start this drive in the air. He finds Wilson. He'll get it inside the 20. And all the way in. Touchdown, New York. Boy, just zero hesitation from the rookie passer there, partner. He is coming out firing in this opening quarter.
And all the talk leading into this game was that pass rush, talking about challenging this guy, getting into his grill, getting into his space. And how about him? Might be his first year in the NFL, but I don't see any fear in him at all. How about that big-time throw right out of the gate?
Out is the kickoff unit as they run up and send this one away. And no return on this one as the fair catch is signaled for and taken. First down Miami as they get set to start the drive. Well, partner, fast forward with me for a second. Remember, next week they have the open week, so they're going to get some extended rest. Does that change how they manage the rest of this one?
I think it does a little bit, but not by too much, because you're right. You get the extra rest, you get a chance to heal up and kind of do a little bit of a reset for this team. But it's also 7 extra days to think back to the last time you were on the field. So now, a little more importance on what they're getting done because they carry it with them for essentially 2 weeks.
He's got room at the 30, down to the 10. Touchdown, Dolphins. A big play there. 61 yards. And the Dolphins are able to strike quickly here as they are in for 6. I was just about to say he had missed an extra point all season, but there it is. His first miss, no good. So with the missed PAT in his rearview mirror, he goes back out to kick this one off. Barrios going to bring this out of the end zone. And ultimately, he stopped right where he would have been if he had simply gone down to a knee at the 25. Jets offense coming up now to start their next drive. Well, partner, coaches always say that every play is designed to score a touchdown. Sometimes that's not really true, but last drive, that was the case. One play to get into the end zone, and now they'll try to duplicate that success here.
And it's rare for those moments to happen. Incredible when they do.
He's got a man, complete. Touchdown. Garrett Wilson doing it again with his 3rd touchdown here in the opening quarter. And the Jets are able to strike quickly to add on to their lead. Point after, right down the middle. And the lead now up to 14. The Jets kick team out now to boot this one away. Igbenogany elects not to return. The football will come out to the 25-yard line. The Dolphins at the line, ready for their next drive. And they have the game here followed by the open date on their calendar next weekend. And Charles, this is a crew that you have to think really is relishing the opportunity to be on the couch for a few days.
Yeah, they certainly are, but let's face it, partner. They can't get caught looking ahead to that couch time while they're playing this one. They've got to take care of business first.
So in Jet territory now. Here's 1st and 10 at the 49-yard line. Now this throw caught left side. And he'll get this one down near the 20-yard line, just shy of the 20. On play action, here's Tua. And his throw's going to be incomplete.
How about that? Red man coverage and decided to test him early. But it proved up to the task and forced the incompletion.
So after the incompletion on first, now 2nd and 10. Now Tua. And he's got his tight end. It's Mike Gesicki. And stopped a few yards shy of the goal line at the 3. They'll try to run this one in. And he is in. Touchdown, Miami. A great effort there with his 6th rushing touchdown on the year. And the Dolphins have got it back to within a score. Well, they move the ball down the field through the air, Charles, and then finally they get the running game involved, and it works to perfection. Touchdown.
And, partner, I kept waiting for that running game to come into play and actually saved him until the very end. Touchdown goes on the stat sheet. But you and I both know, and he knows as well, his teammates airing it out made this a successful drive.
Berrios now from his end zone. And that decision to bring it out ends up not being a good one. Costs him about 5 yards as he's tackled at the 20. Jets offense coming up now to start their next drive. And, CD, you know, sometimes you don't need those complicated game plans or the added wrinkles. Last time, now you think about it, couldn't have been any simpler. One play, one pass, touchdown.
I know those coaches put a lot of work into this game plan, but I don't think they mind possessions like that at all. They just save those calls for this possession instead.
The last run got 3. Now here's 2nd and 7. Ball again on 2nd down. And he'll take it forward for about 5 up to the 28-yard line.
A quick burst there, and he nicely bit off a pretty decent gain.
Come to the line, needing only 2 yards to gain the first here. They'll run with Hall. And he'll be touched out here, but not before he does pick up the first. And that gain of 9 buys them a new set of downs. Now, look, that wasn't a huge gain, but those are the types of carries I think they were missing in their loss last week. They couldn't get him going on the ground.
Did you get the same feeling I did during our meetings, that they kind of regretted that he didn't touch the ball?
Absolutely.
You know, hey, he should have touched him more last week. They weren't going to make that same mistake, and they've taken care of that early.
Give him 3 on first down. It'll set up a 2nd and 7.
Well, that's just a pile of bodies there, and that's when you kind of find out who's a tough guy, right? Who can stand up and make a play. It was only a 3-yard run, but for both sides, they had to walk away from that field like, okay, I can stand up when the going gets tough in here.
On 2nd down, a run with Hall. 3 yards on the pickup. That's going to set up an interesting 3rd and about 4 to go.
I do know from experience that when you slow down someone's running game, you're now doing the dictating on defense. And guess what? Now you're getting ready to tee off on their quarterback because they have to throw it all the time. But you still have to be alert for the draws and other plays of that nature to make sure you don't get hurt.
An entertaining start to this one. More to come on EA Sports.
On the set.
In search of 4 yards here to pick up the first down.
17.
On 3rd down, here's Hall. And a pretty nice tackle there, ranging up from his free safety spot as he'll stop him about a yard short. Call it a gain of 4, but not enough. The punt team going to need to be summoned here on 4th down.
When a good play is made on defense, oftentimes leverage is the key to everything. Defensive line not getting turned, all the other guys making sure they're in the right spot. And on that play, they were able to stop him short of a first down.
3-3.
They're indeed going for it as they look to throw. Oh, that's into a sea of bodies, and it's intercepted. Picked off, Byron Jones. And the Dolphins are going to take possession of the football. Defensively that time, they were in zone coverage. As a rookie QB, what lesson can you learn there?
Well, understand this. You saw zone in college, and the defensive backs reacted, but they don't react like they do on this level. So when they're in zone and they see the ball coming to them, they'll react at least a half a second faster. You've got to know where you want to go with the ball and be decisive with it. Otherwise, the end result can be something you don't like.
Line of scrimmage, the 31 now on 1st and 10. Right back to him on 1st down. He'll get it to the 23-yard line. 45 yards rushing for him now to this point. Decided to hand it off that time on the run-pass option.
Appeared to be an easy decision. Just gave it inside. Nice steady gain.
The last run got 9. That leaves him with 2nd and a yard. And they'll run on the inside handoff. And they'll bring him down at the 18-yard line. So from inside the 20, here's 1st and 10 at the 18. Inside the red zone here, they'll look to throw. Open man is Waddle, complete. And able to get him down, but he does reach the 5. A solid pickup at 13 sets him up 1st and goal.
For as much as we extol his route running and him as a pass catcher, he might be better with the ball in his hands. He did not want to go down there until he found the end zone. And while he didn't quite get there, he and his guys are set up near the goal line now. 1st and goal.
And the hole closes quickly here. He can fight only to about the 4. 2 of their 3 red zone trips so far they've come up empty on. They'll look to reverse that trend on. And he's got his tight end Gesicki in the end zone. Touchdown Dolphins. 4 yards on the touchdown grab. And the Dolphins are within an extra point of tying up this ball game. Extra point up and good by Sanders. We got a tie game here. Back and forth first half. Fitting for what's been a tight ball game. We're all even at 20 now as the kick's away. Berrios going to bring this out of the end zone. And a good return as he'll be stopped just shy of the 30-yard line. Jets offense coming up now to start their next drive. And we'll see if they can bounce back from that last drive. In particular, if they can bounce back at the quarterback position, Charles, after throwing their first interception of the ball game.
Yeah, and some guys, you know they're going to want to try and get a big play right away and take control back. Others, they're going to look to hit a couple shorter passes, get a little momentum back that way.
But for the defense, that goal's not changing a bit. They want another pick.
You're exactly right about that. In fact, you've got to watch them a little bit because in coverage, they may cut down their gaps a little bit, maybe their splits a little bit in order to try and get to the ball even faster.
Here's a play fake as they set up to throw. Sliding out of the pocket. And he fires one that's intercepted. Picked up by Xavier Howard. And the Dolphins are going to take possession of the football.
A tough adjustment to the NFL throughout his rookie season, and his problem with turnovers is only exacerbated by his early showing today. That's a couple for him here in this first half, and he's cleared the double-digit mark for the entire season.
So from the 36 now, 1st and 10. Now a handoff looking right. And they'll get 8 out of this before being stopped at the 28.
First play of the drive, let's give credit all around. Excellent blocking, but the guy carrying the ball, he was the finisher. A really nice run.
8 yards the gain on that last run. Here's 2nd and a couple. And they'll give him another shot here on the ground. And he'll be a little shy of the 25 here at the 26-yard line. 2 yards, good enough for a first.
But we always talk about good down and distance, allowing offenses to expand their playbook. Well, 2nd and 2, that means your playbook's wide open. You can run just about anything. But a lot of times, the play caller, he just looks down at his sheet, sees the short yardage runs, and goes to one of those.
And they've got this down to about the 12-yard line.
Doesn't matter whether it's a zone coverage or man coverage, the drag route can be effective when it's run well.
Three tight ends in the ball game here on 1st and 10. One back in the backfield, he'll get the carry. And he'll be taken down here at about the 11. Tackle on that play by Quinton Williams.
Now that's a mountain of a man that just made that stop, isn't it? But he's more than that. This guy's nimble and quick. More than a space eater. He just made a great play there.
From the gun, they'll try to run it. And he'll get this one down to about the 10-yard line. He'll pick up only a yard there, and it'll leave him with a 3rd and 7. Second quarter, 2 minutes to go. Tie ball game.
On the double.
The Jets will bring in a nickel set here as they try to stop this third down. The Jets are going to use the first of their timeouts. So as they take it over, we step aside. So 7 yards from the first down here as they come up to the line of scrimmage. Out of the gun on third down, here's Tua. And he's got his tight end, Gesicki, in the end zone. Touchdown, Dolphins. A great play there. A beast in the red zone with his second touchdown of the game. And the Dolphins have taken the lead. Extra point and good by Sanders. And they will take a 7-point lead. Berrios now from his end zone. Now a hit and a loose football. So they will set up shop. Excellent field position in the red zone at the 19-yard line. So here's a 1st and 10 now down inside the 20. On first down, they'll go to the ground attack. And he is met at the line of scrimmage, and he goes down right there. Tagovailoa working out of the gun. And that is caught. Touchdown, Miami. A great effort there. His second touchdown of the game, his third on the year. And the Dolphins go up by 2 touchdowns. Extra point up and good by Sanders. And the lead now up to 14. Now after the touchdown, ready to kick it away is Sanders. Berrios going to bring this out of the end zone. And his guys will get the football right at the 20-yard line. Jets offense coming up now to start their next drive. And Charles, we'll see what they can do here. Not a ton of time left, but enough certainly to get points out of this drive, and they need them right now because they're trailing.
Yeah, this is exactly why you practice a 2-minute drill all through camp and at least one practice each week before a game. A minute left.
And for the third time here in this half, it's intercepted. Picked up by Javon Holland. And the Dolphins are going to get it back here just past the 35. Certainly not what he was hoping for, Charles. That's now 3 interceptions in this ballgame.
But there's a lot of knowledge to be gleaned every time you throw an interception if you do things the right way. And hasn't there been a pretty darn good quarterback along the way who threw it?
Yeah, man, it's caught inside the 10. And all the way in for a Miami touchdown. Jalen Waddle, 64 yards. And the Dolphins take a 3-touchdown lead. Extra point up and good by Sanders. And the lead now to 3 touchdowns at 21. Now after the touchdown, ready to kick it away is Sanders. Berrios now from his end zone. And only able to get this to the 19, so probably should have opted for the touchback. Jets offense coming up now to start their next drive. And for this offense, Charles, you got to think kind of crucial here to put something together on this drive, because remember last time out they threw the interception on the very first play.
And you can't afford to let this defense keep building any more momentum. They're playing awfully well, and they're awfully confident right now. To me, it's time to attack and take some of that momentum back. But make sure you're selective in doing so. Understand where you want to throw the football and make sure it's open before the ball leaves your hands.
And they're going to get this beyond the 40 before he's taken down. A gain there of 21 yards.
Here we go, set.
Now on first down, he'll drop to throw it. Oh, he dropped it. And that's pretty indicative of the way this one's gone. Here now is 2nd and 10, again from the 41. They'll give to Hall. And taking it across midfield and inside the 45. Now the Jets going to use the second of their 3 timeouts as they stop it with 19 seconds to go in half number 1. first down right back to Hall. It's a 6-yard gain on the ground, and that'll make it 2nd and 4. Now a timeout signaled for, and they'll get it with 10 seconds to go before halftime. So on 2nd down, the field goal unit is on here as they try to get 3 before half. This officially a 55-yard attempt. And he has got it from 55 yards away. That was never in doubt. And the deficit drops now from 21 down to 18. That was perfect. From distance, he steps up, knocks it right down Main Street.
And Main Street's celebrating right now with him, aren't they? I love the mechanics of the whole thing. Snap, hold, everything was right on target, and the blocking was perfect, and he executed so well.
First down Miami as they get set to start the drive. And only 6 seconds on the clock, so time likely for just one play. Room here to run. And they get him down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line. So we've reached halftime in a wild first half. We'll take a minute to catch our breath as we send you up to Orlando to check in with Jonathan Coachman and our EA Sports Halftime Report. Welcome back. Charles and I settled into the booth, ready for quarter number 3. Forecast calling for more of the same. The rain set to continue as we are underway in the second half. And a fair catch signaled for and taken successfully. The Dolphins at the line, ready for their next drive. And they've got the lead, CD. What do you expect from them in this second half?
Well, I like what they were able to do on the ground in the first half because they had a lot of success running the ball, and I certainly think we'll see more of that. But I'd keep an eye on that defense, and I think their coaches up in the box will do the exact same thing. If they start to see 1 or 2 guys start to creep towards the line of scrimmage, that'll be licensed to take some shots downfield.
4 yards on the pickup there as it'll leave him with a third and about 4 more for a first. From the gun, it's Tua. He's going to go for a big play downfield. And he knocks the ball away, and it falls incomplete.
Absolutely no disguise on that one. They just went for it. Put him out there and said, go deep. Let's try and hit him. Unfortunately, to no avail.
Wisnowski on to punt as he sends this one away. Here's Berrios. It'll be 37 yards there on the punt, and the Jets will take over. Jets offense coming up now to start their next drive. They'll start on the ground. Hall. And nothing much materializing there on the first down run. He'll get a couple, and that's it.
They suspected it was a power play up the middle coming at them, and boy, were they right. That defense got downhill in a hurry and limited them to just a couple on first down.
Hall again on second down. And he's across the 40, 3 extra yards to the 43. 65 yards on the ground for him so far.
That's the kind of run that gets everyone excited on offense. And, you know, oftentimes the guys who carry the ball are the ones in the huddle doing the chirping. Right now, I think it's the offensive line telling them, run it again. We are right there about to break a big one.
He needed a yard. That's exactly what he got. Earns him a new set of downs.
How about that there? No frills, no additives, right? Nothing crazy. Just find a way to pick up the first down. A nice run right there.
On 1st and 10, it's Hall. And he can only manage to get a couple. 2nd and 8 coming up.
You've got to be impressed by that defensive front on reps like those. They were not being moved off the line, kept their shoulders square, and gave their teammates time to fight to the ball and limit that gain.
The last run got a couple. Here's 2nd and 8. Ball again on 2nd down. And now they're going to get him down right at the line of scrimmage. Officially no gain on the play, and they're left with a 3rd and 8. This offense in desperate need of a conversion as they come up on 3rd down. Back to throw. And his pass is intercepted for the 4th time today. Picked up by Javon Holland. And the Dolphins are going to take over a couple of yards shy of midfield. Well, you just kind of feel for him right now. 4 interceptions, and you can almost see through his face mask. There's a lot going on in between the ears.
There certainly is, and probably way too much, because now he's probably doubting himself a little bit, wondering what adjustments he has to make. But here's what he needs to do. Get through this game, go to the press conference, meet it head on, and show your teammates you're ready to shoulder what happened today, and you'll be ready for the next game.
And if he can do that as a rookie, that's a great sign of maturity. Meanwhile, they take a shot to start the drive, but this is going to wind up incomplete.
Surprise in your face there, partner. That is a rare incompletion from him. He's been on point this entire game.
He has percentage completion-wise way up. Not that time. An incomplete pass on 1st down. That leads to a 2nd and 10. Now they try the right side here. And a good run here as he'll rumble all the way down to the 40-yard line. Give him 12 yards there, and the Dolphins have a 1st down.
And that last carry puts him right at 100 yards for the game. So how has he done it? Because he's been patient, followed his blocks, let everything develop, and then burst through for big gains.
And forget that 100-yard rushing game, at least for the moment, as he'll lose yardage here and fall back under the century mark for the game. 2 yards the loss, 2nd and 12. The defense was ready for the run-pass option, diagnosed it perfectly.
Not only did they stack him up at the point of attack, but he was met by a host of light-colored jerseys.
Hands it off out of the gun. And he'll be stopped at the 28 on a play that started at the 14. They pick up 14.
Well, you certainly have to give a little credit here because they're playing this game now at their pace. This is ball control football, sustained runs, taking their time, and making it work.
I'll tell you, far from ideal conditions to play in, but neither offense has had much trouble. Plenty of points to go around. 1st and 10. Fighting through, and he's got space. And he gets it inside the 10 to the 9. 131 yards rushing for him so far as his terrific season continues here. All right, I got to ask you, with these RPOs, essentially the quarterback has 3 options, right? So what's different from that versus the triple option that we see the service academies run at the college level?
As a general rule, the triple option at the college level, most things are called outside of the quarterback faking it to the runner and then keeping it himself and maybe having a trail back. What I mean is, in the NFL, that option to throw the football all comes about organically. It's a natural deal based on reads. In college, if you're going to throw the football for triple option, you've actually called that play.
And now defensively, you have to look at this like the game's on the line. It's just the 3rd quarter, but another touchdown given up here could really spell an end to their chances, so they need to toughen up and keep them out of the end zone.
On 2nd and goal, Tua. That's caught. Waddle on the left side. Only 3 yards there on the completion. That'll lead to a 3rd and goal. Here's a handoff out of the gun. And just a short gain that time as they're able to get him down. They've now produced 3-yard gains on 3 straight plays. Leads us to 4th down.
Well, Brandon, we always know that once you score 1 touchdown,
you want 2.
You're without a doubt. And so far today, he's got 1, but was denied as he tried to get the second one.
Tagovailoa going for it on 4th down. Hit as he throws, and this is going to be incomplete. They can't hook up here on the 4th down pass attempt, and the Jets are going to get the football back. So they've gone for it twice now on 4th down in this game, and both times unsuccessful.
I wish we could hear the headsets now between the head coach and the offensive coordinator. Now that they're 0 for 2. If they get into a third situation, head coach might say, hey, you got anything for this one? Might get radio silence back.
Xavier Howard up to make the tackle. The last run good for 2. Here's 2nd and 8. Ball again on 2nd down. And he'll get this only up to about the 3-yard line. They follow up the gain of 2 with a gain of 1 that time. Not the start to the drive they were looking for. That run doesn't do much at all.
No, not at all. That leaves them with 3rd and long. And you know, this is the time of game where these drives really start to matter. They've got to make some moves.
No gain on the play there. A nice job defensively. And it likely forces a punt situation on 4th. They've called his number a lot this afternoon. You wonder how much tread is left on those tires.
We certainly do, but I always think back to one of my favorite coaches in the NFL. And he used to have a meeting with his running backs every year in the offseason and say, look, as many times as you're going to carry the ball, you should be able to carry it 1 more time, so make sure you get in shape.
Now on 4th down, we've got a whistle here and a timeout. It's just their first, so 2 remaining as they burn 1 here in this 3rd quarter. Here's the Jets punter now. And no room for error here as his first punt comes from deep in his own end zone. And he's able to get it out of there. A 44-yard punt. They're going to wind up losing yardage on the return, though. And it'll be Dolphin football. 1st down Miami as they get set to start the drive. And now you've got the clock winding down here in the 3rd quarter. You're 3 scores to the good. What's your approach on this drive?
Too early to fully commit to playing the clock game. Yet at the same time, you're also not going pell-mell like you would in 2-minute offense. This is what NFL offenses call 4-minute football. Take the clock out of the game a little bit, wind it down, but at the same time, keep advancing the ball down the field.
After the incomplete pass, here now is 2nd and 10. Tua sets up to pass it. And that almost their first INT of the ball game. Had his sights on it, but he couldn't seal the deal.
And now offensively it's 3rd and 10, and I'm just thinking to myself, actors always say, what's my motivation before a big scene? Right now the play caller's thinking, what have I done before that's worked well that I can go to right now?
Yeah, because they were pretty successful in the first half scoring points. Haven't done anything so far here in the second half. Now a shot taken on 3rd down, but it's going to wind up incomplete.
I usually hesitate when I say a guy's got world-class speed, but this guy might. So let's fire the starter's pistol. Let's go. If you've got him, you've got to try and use him. A lot of anticipation with the ball in the air, but no, incomplete.
The Dolphins will send out the punter now. On, we think, to punt, though he's faked it earlier, but he was unsuccessful. It's a 43-yard punt, a return of 5, and the Jets will take over 1st and 10. Jets offense coming up now to start their next drive. It's now appearing that this losing streak is going to continue. You know, the coaching staff was confident that this was going to be the game to stem the tide, but that just has not been the case. Got an open man. That's C.J. Uzomah. And he'll be taken down, but not before they reach the 50. It's a gain of 34.
At this stage, there's nothing left to do but to keep firing. And if you're a play caller, you may go off your sheet and use some things maybe you hadn't planned to in this game. Maybe that was one of them there that worked.
Okay, ready?
So the line of scrimmage all the way up to midfield now as they've got it 1st and 10. From the midfield stripe, they'll look to throw. Uncorks one for Davis. And incomplete on the deep ball.
That's coverage you'd expect to see in a tie game late. Not in a lopsided game like this. They are not letting up.
So now 2nd and 10 after the incompletion on 1st down. They're going to look to throw. And now here's another interception. Picked up by Javon Holland. And the Dolphins will take over possession here up at the 44. Yes, folks, that is his 3rd interception, and I'm going to use one of the most overused phrases in football. He's a ball-hawking safety.
I love the way that you called for the shot there. That's perfect, though, because there is something to that. Being a safety often allows you freedom to roam around the defense, maybe not a specific assignment. Today, his assignment, find the football, and he's done so quite well.
Here we go.
So they'll come up after the incompletion for 2nd down. They'll try and run this one right up the gut. And they'll hold him to 3 there as he takes this up to the 47.
Brandon, I've got to think this offensive line has got some smiles on its faces. And I know it sounds crazy, but they practiced for this back in training camp. They knew they'd be in situations where there'd be extra defenders in the box coming after them, trying to keep them from locking down a game. Right now, they want to show the world they're up to the challenge.
And going deep for Hill. And this is caught inside the 5. Touchdown, Dolphins. He's got them out now to a 3-score lead here in the 4th quarter after that one, CD. And, well, he looked right off the line like he knew that that ball was coming his way, and he secured it for 6 points.
Yeah, I think when you're leading by a healthy margin already, it actually loosens you up and allows you to take maybe a few more chances and definitely play with more confidence, because he certainly saw something he could exploit in the defense, and he made sure to let his quarterback know, just get it to me. And the rest was all up to him, and he delivered and made it a 3-score game.
Jets offense coming up now to start their next drive. And you hate to see this for them, but they're looking at yet another loss to begin this season. Things really going from bad to worse as they trail here starting this drive 1st and 10 in the 4th quarter. 83 yards rushing for him now as he has been tremendous all day long.
Most of their damage has been done through the air. I mean, they've rung the bell 3 times with passing touchdowns, but guess what? Ground game has not been neglected. Nice little burst right there.
He dumps this one off here to Hall. Yeah, that's good for a gain of 6, and it's 2nd down. You got the big lead defensively, willing to give him that underneath stuff, right?
And this is why you work on your tackling. Tackle him after the catch, inbounds, keep the clock running. Just go ahead and bleed the game out that way.
2nd and 4. And my goodness, another interception. Brandon Jones picking it off. And he will bring it back. It's a pick 6 and a Dolphins touchdown. Well, what has been a fantastic game for this defense has been rough for this offense. And certainly a signal caller, Charles, has thrown all these interceptions. Another one there, and this one taken all the way back for the score.
I hope they're holding a nice little spot in the post-game highlights to show this run of interceptions and great plays this group has made. They've been on it from snap 1.
Berrios going to bring this out of the end zone. And ultimately cannot get this out to the 25-yard line as he's dropped at the 23. Jets offense coming up now to start their next drive. We certainly had a sense coming in here that these guys were in for a tough one on the road. That has been how this ball game has played out. They trail big as we continue on now here in this 4th quarter. And now a throw on first down there, but it's incomplete.
Another throw there off the mark, and obviously he's battled all of the interceptions. Things just haven't been true to form for him. I don't know. What do you think's going on out there, CD?
That's a great question, and my suspicion is he's been coached really well to not show that he's having a problem. You know, they always tell you no matter.
And that's caught inside the 35.
And he'll be brought down at the 27.
Defensively, I know they have the comfortable lead here in the fourth, but they do not want to give up big plays like that.
They want to finish strong. So oftentimes in this situation, you tighten up underneath in your coverage, and you bring your safeties back. They can pick up anything that leaks through. But in the meantime, upfield, you're making plays on the football.
Now here's a pass on first down that's knocked away and incomplete.
He didn't just deny a big throw there. He broke that one up in the red zone. An excellent play, one that may help save points on the board when this drive is over.
Second and 10 now from the 27. Back to throw again.
That pass complete to Moore. And they're going to get this down inside the 15.
Well, this game was decided a while ago, and that completion there, it's going to artificially inflate his passing numbers. So right now, the only one really applauding probably his agent as he thinks about angling for a new contract.
Throwing on first down, but this one winds up to be incomplete.
Okay, I'm not quite sure how to judge that one. Maybe he didn't have enough legs underneath him. Mechanics might have been off. Maybe some fatigue. That one came up short.
Yeah, fourth quarter, maybe you do start to watch as the arm there, the leg's still there. This has been a tough game. They'll stick with the passing game as he looks to throw. Under pressure, and he'll go down back at the 26-yard line.
Jalen Phillips, the former first-rounder, getting in there for the sack.
Seventh play of this drive coming up, but a long way to go on third down. Now back to throw. And this is caught. Well, they get one back, picking up the late touchdown here, but still down big.
Charles, that's a pretty good response from a rookie quarterback. He's had his struggles in this game, including the interception on the last drive, but there he takes him down the field and puts it in the end zone.
I agree with everything you just said right there, and there's a silver lining to all of this, his resiliency. Because let's face it, when things are going bad and you're a youngster, they often continue to go bad. But in his mind and his actions, he said, this stops right here. And how about the positive play he just turned in?
This is taken just shy of the 10. And he doesn't even get this to the 10. He's taken down at the 9.
Here we go, set.
The Dolphins at the line ready for their next drive. And this crowd has certainly liked what they've seen. Their guys fully expected to win this one coming in, and they have not disappointed as they've got the big lead here in the fourth. And we are inside of 2 minutes left in this lopsided affair. So the Dolphins have it as we welcome you back in. They've got a second down now as they look to salt this one away. They'll try and run some clock here as they keep it on the ground. Despite some fast footwork, he's still wrangled down shy of the 15. 4 yards the gain, and it'll bring up a third down.
That second down play call was not to pick up the first down. It was to accomplish what they did to get them into a manageable third down because they had incompletion on first down, so they were behind the sticks, so to speak. They needed to make up some ground, and they did.
And he's going to be taken down right at about the 15-yard line. Call it a gain of 3, and it'll bring up fourth down. The Dolphins will send out the punter now, standing just about on his own goal line. .43 yards on the punt, return of 4.
And they will take over first and 10. Jets offense coming up now to start their next drive. Where we stand right now in the fourth quarter, this one pretty much out of reach. And, Charles, I know they're going to be disappointed about several things with this ball game, but the self-inflicted wounds, they've had several turnovers. You would have to think that's going to be something they're going to discuss heavily in the film session in the coming days.
You're absolutely right about that, partner, because they're going to have to sit in that film room and watch every error that they made and figure out how to not do it in the future. And mentally, I think a lot of the guys are already starting to think about, okay, how do we put this behind us and get better for the next time out? This, they'll use as motivation for the rest of the time that they play to hopefully never be in this type of situation again.
On first down, he'll drop to throw. And now here is another interception. The disaster there, I mean, you saw it coming. The pressure gets knocked down, the interception.
Sometimes the best throw you make is the one you
don't make.
Exactly. Take care of the football. He'll also learn how to shrug his shoulders, take the proper slide steps to alleviate some of the pressure. But occasionally, like the one we just saw, sometimes just hold on to the football and take the hit.
Victory very likely now for the Dolphins as they take a knee here. Charles, a lot of happy faces heading into the tunnel as this one ends, and understandably so. Not only did they get the win, but boy, their offense was on fire in this ball game.
And partner, I have no idea what the top speed is on all those high-end sports cars. What's the top gear you can get into? This offense, they certainly were there in this one, huh? Everything clicking for them in this contest, the kind of performance that they're going to cherish.
So for Miami, they boost their record up to a strong 4-1. And they'll be able to enjoy this one through the bye week before they get back at it again. Meanwhile, for the Jets, things aren't looking good. It'll be an 0-5 start. And they will get a home date next week as they will take on the Buffalo Bills.
off.